everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Angie, and on my channel I do all things homemaking. Today I'm going to be making two different dinners for you. I'm going to start out by making a crock pot tortilla soup, and then I'm going to move on to a Swedish meatball with cauliflower and green beans. So I hope you enjoy today's video, and let's go ahead and get started. I started out by putting 4 chicken breasts into a crock pot. And then I added minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of butter. And now I'm just going to be adding 2 cans of Rotel to this. This is a day where we were actually going to a pumpkin farm with our family, and I wanted to be able to come home to a nice meal after being gone all day. So now I'm going to just add 1 packet of taco seasoning. And then I'm gonna add a whole box of chicken broth. I'm just gonna mix that up a little bit, adding half a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. I'm just gonna put the lid on this and I'm gonna turn it on low and let it cook for 8 hours. Now, these are the ingredients we'll add at the end. Some Philadelphia cream cheese and a little bit of shredded cheese. So this is 8 hours later. The chicken's ready. It was perfect on low for 8 hours. The chicken shredded perfectly. So I'm just going to get that out and start cutting it up. And some people shred it in the pot. I think it's easier to take it out and do it. But I'm gonna get that all cut up and added back in. This was a super easy meal and it was very delicious. This is a couple ounces of cream cheese that I already had in the fridge that I needed to use up, so I'm going to be softening that in the microwave. That helps it melt into the soup a little easier. And then I also had 6 ounces of cheese that I had softened already. If you put it in the microwave for 30 to 60 seconds, it makes it blend a lot easier, and also using a whisk gets rid of all the little lumps that it wants to have. So here we're just topping it with cheese and we're gonna enjoy it. So here we are a few days later, and I'm gonna be making some Swedish meatballs. I don't think I've made this recipe before. There's a lot of ingredients to it, but it had a lot of flavor. So first you're gonna chop onion and you're gonna cook it in a skillet so it's softened. And while that's cooking, I'm adding 2 eggs to a bowl. And it was just half a cup of onion. 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And I'll have this recipe in the description below. Some Worcestershire. I think it's like a tablespoon. Some steak seasoning, whatever your favorite is. A tablespoon of brown sugar sweetener. I use the monk fruit, golden monk fruit. Some chipotle. I accidentally added too much of this, but it was spicy, but it was still good. And then a little bit of pepper, some nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to combine that well. And then this is 2 packs of ground beef. So now I'm adding the onion in that I just cooked until tender. And then I'm gonna start mixing in my 2 pounds of ground beef. And this mixture did feel very wet and liquidy because there's no almond flour, there's no breadcrumbs in it. But as you mix it, it does firm up a little bit. And I'm just using I think it's like a 1-inch scoop to do the balls, and it does help if you grease your hands first. And this, she said it made 60 meatballs. I think I got 56 out of it. So it was pretty close. But these are pretty small meatballs. And then you're gonna cook them in 2 batches. So here I'm just gonna start browning them. You wanna turn them 3 times total on each side for 2 minutes. And then start transferring them over when you're done cooking, and then put in the second batch and cook those for 2 minutes on each side. And then we're going to put those on the sheet pan and we're going to start making our sauce. So this calls for cream cheese. You want to keep all the good drippings from the meat in there to give it flavor. And then once again, put your cream cheese in the microwave and melt it. I think I put it in for 40 or 50 seconds. I'm adding sherry cooking wine to this. I think the recipe called for brandy, but I used sherry instead and it was good. And then you're gonna put in 1/4 cup of beef broth and just kind of melt all that together. And then 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. And then some Worcestershire, 2 teaspoons. And then you're gonna mix that, make sure it kind of melts together well. I'm adding some salt here and some black pepper. And then you add the rest of the beef broth, which was 1 1/4 cup. And then you're gonna cook this 5 to 10 minutes until it thickens. And then you're gonna add back in the meatballs and get them coated in the sauce. I wish these recipes made more sauce. A lot of times they just don't make much sauce, and it seems like the meat absorbed a lot of the sauce. So you may want to, if you're wanting to serve it on rice or something, you may want to double the sauce part of it. So now moving on to the cauliflower rice, and I started doing mine in the microwave. So I'm just cutting this small head of cauliflower. I've already cleaned it and washed it, and so I'm going to put 1/4 cup of water in it and put the lid partway on, and then I stick it in the microwave for, I think it took 6 or 7 minutes. So while that's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and get my green beans ready. I'm just cleaning them and trimming the ends here. And I like to do my green beans, I usually only use half of them at a time. I'll put the other half in the freezer. But I go ahead and clean them all at once. And then I put mine in a Ziploc bag with maybe 1/4 cup of water, and I steam them for 7 minutes in the microwave. And then I just season them however you want. But this is just the easiest way for us to do it. Here the cauliflower's coming out, so I'm gonna drain the water off of that. Get these green beans ready to put in the freezer. Then I'll stick the other bag in the microwave. And you just, if the fork is easy to get into the cauliflower, then you know it's done once it's tender. So I just do mine in the food processor. So I'm gonna just, you don't want to over pulse it because you want it to be kind of the size of rice. So I just pulse it a little enough for it all to get chopped up, and then I'm adding salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna pulse it just a couple of times to mix the pepper and salt into it. But if you do it too much, you'll end up with cauliflower mash, and we wanted more of the rice texture with this dish. So now I'm going to transfer this to a bowl. Here I'm going to drain the green beans and just put them in a bowl. And we like to just use salt and pepper, and then there's a garlic butter we get from Sam's Club that we like to put on our vegetables. So there was only a little bit left in here, so I just melted it. I'm just going to pour some on the vegetables and give them a stir. So this was a really good meal if you're looking for some new ideas. I hope you'll try it, and I'll see you later this week with a new video. Thanks for joining me. Bye.